I could literally cancel you, Charlie. And to be clear, I was always upfront that the drama was fake.
Okay, that is super disingenuous. 100% disingenuous.
All dramatization and the visuals dialogue are fictional and meant for storytelling purposes. How would you explain?
Yes, and that's the biggest issue right here. You lied.
Then reported and taken down with claims that they contain CSA.
No. We did not claim that. The hosting website claimed that.
Hey everyone, welcome to the year late MamaMax cancellation response video. This is a very dense video, so I've divided it into 5 main
I see
sections.
Diorio.
Introduction and recap, Night Ducks, Nexpo, and Mudahar, Spencer's allegations, personal questions, and Belfgor. With that said, let's go and have fun. Hi, hello. Why should we trust you? There's 2 sides to every story, and I'm sure you've gotten hundreds of one side, but there's still a whole other side you haven't seen yet, but that's gonna change. What happened? That's a lot to explain. So a survivor reached out to me for help regarding a case of an...
Okay, listen, we're already starting with a little bit of BS-ery here, okay? Cameron Gerard Davis, has he been arrested before? I think it was off of like a vehicle B&E or something like that. But just simply because somebody got arrested doesn't mean that they're guilty of being a freaking werewolf cult leader. We're already starting off kind of bad.
Alleged cult leader and child predator, and asked me if I could platform them to tell their story. So I was just going to start a new format where we platform the survivors and let them have a voice. But I quickly realized that we needed help given the gravity of this case and the purpose of our campaign.
Let's see. Hello, have you contacted the police about your experience with... no, not yet. I only have screenshots. I don't know what to do. I thought I was alone. Other victims. I never thought there would be hundreds of victims. Okay, remember, they were alleging that this cult leader had hundreds of victims, yet 0 evidence was ever provided to prove this being the case. Jesus Christ. What's up, Max Black? What's going on, brother? Justice is coming, but we need your help. The Baldwin County Sheriff's Office is handling the case. Would you like their number to make a report? If I remember correctly, they never actually they never had an open case for this. Like, maybe they reported it, but the police never got the ball rolling because there was nothing to go off of except for their word.
Evolved to find more survivors in order to build a criminal case against the accused party, since he was still active.
Spencer.
Sheriff's Office, Portwood.
Can I speak to Officer badge number?
And so I...
Whoa, hold on. Police information, police's names and badge numbers are public information. You can go to any county sheriff's office or county records or anything like that. There's no reason to bleep it out, especially if you're trying to say, hey, we contacted the police. Without that name and badge number, other people could contact that person and ask what was discussed. Bleeping it is a little dumb. Even when we covered the whole Richie Becky situation, we left those names in and their badge numbers in case people wanted to file their own Freedom of Information Act or anything of that nature. It's legally obtainable. Confirmation media interview request. Dude sounds like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. Max Stryker says, briefly describe what kind of person you would like to interview. I've recently reached out to ICSA with a proposal of collaboration on a documentary I am producing. Okay, so it looks like he was trying to get help from some media source.
Reached out to institutions, journalists.
Focus. Okay, so this is just his emails to people to hopefully cover the stories.
Lawyers and experts in the field.
Lawyers?
To institutions, journalists, lawyers.
Legal assistance request for a class action lawsuit. We're seeking legal expertise on a class action lawsuit against a cult leader. I will say this. You can do a class action lawsuit if you don't. So there's different tiers, right? There's criminal court, civil court, and then there's lawsuits, right? So if you don't have enough evidence to convict in criminal court, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, you can go to civil court, which is more than enough, which is within reasonable doubt, meaning that maybe this happened, maybe it didn't. You can still side with the victim because it's a possibility it happened. And then you have class action lawsuits where you simply have to have enough proof for the lawsuit to be given. It's kind of like civil court, only it's a much smaller venue.
And experts in the field of cult psychology.
The leader uses these techniques to gain undue influence over his or her.
Tell me this guy doesn't look like a cult leader himself.
Followers. We've often referred to this as brainwashing or mind control.
But most notably, I reached out to my peers on YouTube. The most influential among them was Charlie, who has helped me in the past.
This also comes into play with MamaMax's video, if you remember that controversy that happened. I imagine most people who don't know the situation and don't know MamaMax...
What's with the Halo soundtrack, brother?
...will see this and just be like, what the fuck is going on here?
His support has...
Hey man, thank you so much for getting back to me. Yeah, of course, man. When are you free to have a chat? I can chat a little bit. I just wanted to inform you that Nexpo, Nick Crowley, and I have an SMP. Thank you. You still defend those who need it most. Continue. Super sweet. Think kind. Super glad to hear from you. I mean, you had good correspondence with people. That doesn't mean you were in the right. And the simple fact that nobody picked up your story due to the fact that there was zero evidence to support your allegations speaks more volume than you having a cordial conversation on Discord.
Has always been invaluable, and since I've seen him fight corruption before, and he is one of...
Looks like the sister from Pet Sematary. That's a good one. Are you talking about the original or the remake?
The most respected voices on the platform. I truly believed he could make a difference. But it was difficult.
I am scheduling a mass call within the next few months between my many high-profile YouTubers and the cult survivors I've been working with. I would like to invite you two to present just for 15 minutes. Your presence is all that matters. These girls just want to feel heard. They are the real deal. Do y'all think you can make it? I'm down to talk more about it privately with you guys if you're down for a quick call sometime. But this is the issue. You're the one telling the story. You should be interviewing them. You should be gathering their story, putting it together, moving forward with it. Not have you present the story to us, and then we go from there and make our assessment into whether or not it's believable.
To get anyone to just listen to the survivors, and so I created
artificial
drama to get people's attention.
I could literally cancel you, Charlie.
And to be clear, I was always upfront that the drama was fake.
Okay, that is super disingenuous, 100% disingenuous, because if I remember correctly, your editor thought you were going crazy and actually leaked the facts. He leaked that part of your video being edited because he thought you were literally trying to threaten Charlie, Penguin Zero, with coming out with a video against him as the pedo hunter. That is incredibly disingenuous, dude. You were never upfront and said, hey, this is just drama to make, to get views.
This is a call to action disguised as a cancellation.
And that worked.
It worked. You never came out, bro. Hold on.
This is a call to action disguised as a cancellation.
A call to action disguised as a cancellation, bro. That's 100% disingenuous. That's exactly like, oh my god, that's exactly like freaking Hassan turning around and saying, bro, Ethan, all I said is that you're partnered with the ADL. I didn't say you worked with them. Like, stop, dude. You really think people forgot, man? A year is not long enough for people to forget on the internet.
And that worked. Until it didn't.
Stop ignoring MamaMax. Yeah, so here, you want me to talk about it a little bit? That rubbed me the wrong way.
I still don't feel good about that decision. But then the people that I trusted, The people that I looked up to.
I mean, F in the chat for Mudahar. He fallen from grace. We all know it. Like, word is nothing at this point in time.
The people that I considered my best friends.
The people you attempted to lightly blackmail into covering a story with zero evidence. Stop.
They all turned on me.
I don't know Nexpo. Apparently there was some drama there, and Nexpo supposedly through the grapevine I've heard isn't the best person and isn't the most trustworthy. I don't know these things, never knew anything about him, so...
In an attempt to protect their own reputations, because they saw what was happening to me, and then they resorted to creating their own deceptions around me. So that way they could bury me. No one will ever believe what I say. I'm a fraud. I'm a liar. I'm a manipulator.
You claimed you claimed to have gotten multiple pedophiles arrested. Then you came out and said that that was a lie. You presented your videos as actual documentaries on pedophiles, and then claimed that those were random people in your videos and that everyone knew that they were just fake videos. Let's see, what else? You said you had a mountain of evidence with Skylar, Spencer, and all those other victims, but never provided any of the evidence. You are a liar, bro. You openly came out and admitted that you lied about things.
I'm a deceiver. I'm a monster. And then they wiped their hands and pretended like I never existed. But I do exist.
Sadly.
And I do have my own side to all of this. And that's what I'm doing now, is clarifying some things, presenting some new information that some of you might have not known. And hopefully in the near future.
But why didn't we know it, Max? Why didn't we know it, Max? Is it because you never shared the information?
Sure, we will resolve all of this drama so that way we can get back to the more important work. Do you acknowledge that you've made mistakes? And if so, which?
That's a good question.
I've made mistakes. And I think one of my biggest mistakes was covering dangerous content at a time I was too immature and uneducated on the subject matter.
Biggest mistake is covering topics and being... No, your biggest mistake was lying about what you were doing, lying about your YouTube cred, lying about the things you did. That was your biggest mistake.
It's important to note that I did not have a mentor. I did have some military training, but I was mostly learning as I was going. And I felt...
Okay. I grew up without a father. I obviously was in the Marine Corps. I had a couple of mentors. Everyone has mentors throughout life, bro. You cannot blame the fact that, oh, you didn't have someone holding your hand through all of this as to why you made all of these mistakes. These are just excuses. This video is not starting off very good. And why is he showing us pictures of himself?
What I was doing was much too serious to ignore. The amount of child exploitation that is happening all over the internet still does not get enough exposure to this day. And that leads me to another big mistake, which was mixing fiction and non-fiction for cases that are too volatile for dramatization. At the time, I felt I could do no wrong if entertainment helps bring awareness to these very real issues. But retrospectively, it just creates confusion around what's real and what's not in the long term. But I have been quite transparent about this since the very beginning.
All information was hidden or censored, names and identities were altered to protect the privacy of non-consenting parties, all dramatization in the visuals dialogue are fictional and meant for storytelling purposes. How would you...
Yes, and that's the biggest issue right here. You lied. What's going on, everybody? It's Future Complexity here. I just wanted to make this statement because I did not cover it during the live stream. Yes, MamaMax does put disclaimers in his video stating that the stories and people are fictional fictional or fictitious. Although, if you also look at the beginning of the disclaimer, it is for legal purposes and legal purposes only, non-educational. The reason why I state that he is lying about it is because if you were to infer off of the legal purposes disclaimer, it would seem as though he's only saying this due to not wanting to be sued by potential people that he is putting faces out there of and calling them predators. You can make of it as you will, but through my interpretation, it seems as though the legal disclaimer is simply due to the fact that he does not wish to have a lawsuit filed against him, rather than actually putting a disclaimer out there to state that these stories are not true. That's my interpretation. It is up to your interpretation as well, as you believe it. In my personal opinion, I believe the only reason why he did it is in an effort to not be sued by anybody or by any people whose images he was using in his videos. That's all I wanted to say. You presented your exposés as if they were realistic, and in nowhere, shape, or form, nowhere in the description, nowhere in your channel's description, nowhere in the video did you say this is all a dramatization, this is all fictional, this is just meant for the purposes of actually doing, of bringing awareness to something like this. Not only that, but the people you claimed to have been pedos, you put their pictures up. People who have lives, people who have families, people who have jobs, you put their faces up. You did not censor them, so that way people could do reverse image searches, find them, anything of that nature. In no way did you put a disclaimer saying that this was all for dramatization and fictional. You're a snake. Bro, you're a freaking snake.
All dramatization in the visuals dialogue are fictional and meant for storytelling purposes.
How would you explain that? It's like half fiction, half kind of a story?
I call it hybrid, like documentaries, because it's like, it is half fiction that is parallel to the real story, and then there's just the real story.
Which is why the full investigation was publicly available in the mega drives that were linked in the paste bins of my video descriptions.
Yes, the mega drive that you ended up getting suspended for potential CSAM. Never forget, okay? Never forget. MamaMax occasionally referenced past bins in the description of his video. They've all been removed from his YouTube video, but I found paste bin account on his Vimeo. Click through, I found some links to mega.nz account, megabins account. I was shocked to see the notification when I tried to open them that he recently bought up in an interview with Spencer that he's being investigated by the FBI. I wonder why this is. Jesus Christ. And you're still doing dramatization, bro. You have all of these shots of you in a dark room against a wall with a projector. You're still putting on a show.
Then reported and taken down, with claims that they contain CSAM.
No. We did not claim that. The hosting website claimed that.
But there was no CSAM. It was just documenting predators and their interactions with me. The entire investigation, from accessing the platform, creating an account, interacting on the site, speaking with predators, speaking with victims, and everything that happened from beginning to end were present in OBS screen recordings on those mega drives. There is so much information that I would include in this very video pertaining to previous investigations that I now cannot present because these drives have been taken down. I did not create a backup because I was not comfortable keeping all of this evidence of predators on my personal computer.
So you hosted them on a third-party website that does routine checks? Bro, like, if you weren't comfortable keeping that information on your own hard drive, it means there was something on there that you knew if people looked at, you would be investigated, which means, again, that there was something potentially illegal within your information, within what you had in there, bro. If you are not willing, listen, we've done a multitude of stories here. I've had all of them on my freaking laptop, all of them back on my hard drives. I couldn't care less if the FBI went through them because ain't shit on there. You knew that there was some sus shit, bro.
So my team helped me upload it and let it go to the public. Mega is quite clear that you can report objectionable material. Because our end-to-end zero-knowledge encryption means we do not know the nature of content that is uploaded, Mega is only able to take down content when a public link has been reported to us. And since these were videos of predators getting naked and masturbating under the impression that I am a minor, I don't necessarily disagree with this decision, but that was the only source proving that these investigations were real. And since they are gone, it has been very easy for everyone to say that they are just fake.
Oh my god. Okay, you didn't think it would be a bad idea to keep information where you posed as a minor and had adults getting freaky, freaks getting freaky. You thought that was, oh my gosh, bro. Here's an idea. You say you didn't want to keep this on your hard drive. Cool. All right. Awesome. You said that all of this stuff. Why didn't you take the information you currently had to the police? They could have held that information for you. It wouldn't have been illegal. They would have had backups. They would have put it into their system. Like, you could have taken it to the police and said, hey, this is what I do on the internet. This is the information we have. Can you hold this? Because it will look sus if I have it on my... Like, there's so much you could have done.
But obviously they are not. These platforms and predators are very real. Some of these same creators have covered them with me on multiple occasions.
So some of you may have seen the video that both myself and Ryan did, but most importantly MamaMax did, on a website called kidschat.net. It is a haven for predators.
We made reports to the FBI and NCMEC together. And I don't know how anyone can think that the predators are fake. No, these are not paid actors. These are child predators. Some of them even have records.
And the sheriff says admits to sending pornography to a child is now charged with pandering obscenity. Wayne Barnett is 60 years old, and the sheriff says Barnett sent the images to a 12-year-old.
Now, I'd like to clarify that I never actually claimed to personally get these arrests.
Bro, you're capping. You're capping so hard right now. What do you mean? You 100% claimed you got them arrested. You're capping.
You went on and you said this guy was arrested. It was because of me. It was because of my video.
But I never said this.
So you did find out who he is. You did find out who he is, but you didn't put him in jail. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if we put him in jail, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And anytime a
No. Oh my gosh. I do not have the clip, but you 100% did. It's in the Diorio video. You 100% said that you got someone arrested because they like fled to Germany or some shit like that. What? Oh my gosh, dude.
Predator is arrested, I always credit my audience who do the legwork.
And it was all thanks to you.
And finally, I think platforming survivors before we were ready to handle the public was a huge mistake. I did read books and reach out to experts and institutions to educate myself on the subject matter. I did get the consent of the victims who appeared in these videos before releasing them. And I did ask my...
He's talking to Oompaville. So this is all private off web to show everyone this is real. Yes, everything is saved in our server. I'm interested in the sniper wolf relation. Just calling out this absurdity of that bringing justice possession. It goes a bit deeper when the real shit's going on. Exactly. You got it. This is 11/18/23. I do not remember when he got taken down, but I think we're good. I think we're going to be good regardless. So,
peers for feedback, which most of them did not have anything negative to say until after the backlash. But
because everyone thought you were doing the right thing.
Clearly, none of us were ready for what ended up happening, and I do take a great share of responsibility for what happened, and I don't feel good about it. Those are just a few mistakes out of many, many more I know I've made. But I'm always learning and trying to do better. Genuine question here. Why did you betray Night Docs despite all that he did for you? Is he lying, or is he telling the truth that you made false allegations concerning him? I actually really want to talk about this. So just for some background, I met Jim Pagel, creator of Night Docs, at PAX South 2020. This is where I also met.
January of last year was when Max to tag to the mat. Okay.
Nexpo, Mudahar, and some other YouTubers. This was my first experience meeting other YouTubers, besides a random collaboration with Official Duck Studios in 2019.
Welcome! Go! Faster!
Anyway, this was my first real friend group with other influencers, and I was a bit awkward.
Jesus Christ, Mudahar. What is that arm? What's going on, bro? That shit look broke. Oh my goodness.
Real friend group with
You must
other
be double
influencers.
jointed or something.
And I was a bit awkward, to say the least.
Bro, you can stick to it? Yeah, I can stick fluently as fuck. You good, bro? Alright, bro.
But I became very close with these people, specifically Night Docs and Nexpo.
No! And guys, whoa, guys, what's going on? Guys, I said stop. Drawers, stop. The drawers, not my drawers. Give me the fucking camera.
And Ruby and I ended up moving in with Night Docs when he invited me. And from what I remember, Jim was a very kind person and an extremely loyal friend.
Max and Ryan, Nexpo, like, those guys are as close to being my brothers as you can be without being blood related. I mean, I would do anything for those dudes.
And I have so many fond memories with Jim. But Jim would often get on Ryan's nerves, Nexpo, when we would film together. I remember this happened with pretty much every episode of Cringe Kitchen, as well as Ben Drowns Again, that we all filmed together. And I think it was because Jim has ADHD. He is prescribed Adderall and often drank a lot of energy drinks on top of a nicotine addiction. So Jim would often get
Bro. Bro. Neon, this is a first watch for me. Jesus Christ. Okay. He's a really nice guy from what I remember, but he used to piss off one of our roommates, and he also has a nicotine addiction and ADHD, and this is the medication he takes. Plus, he also drank a lot. It's like the subtle stabs, bro. The subtle stabs.
Lost in whatever he was doing, and this would result in Ryan getting pissed off and venting to me about Jim.
Probably bring maybe Max and Nexpo along too, if they're up for it. I know Max will be all on board with it. Max is like, always like, whenever I ask Max about anything, he's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Come on, let's go. Like, he's really awesome that way. Ryan tends to be a little...
This is getting hard to watch. Cringe, not you game, bro. Yeah.
busier. And
for the later in the video
all that. So
sounds good, Neon. Thank
not
you.
as easy to get a hold of. Not as easy to get a hold of Nexpo all the time. He also shuts his phone off quite a lot too, so he's hard to get a hold of unless he wants to be available.
Ryan and I would become closer than brothers. I think just because he was a year older than me and our opposing personalities mixed well. And there were times when he would ask me questions about living with Jim. And I told him I would help Jim care for his girls when he was busy.
But what does this have to do with anything?
Who do you want to be here? Max. You miss Max? Well, I'll show Max this. You want to tell anything to Max? If Max is sitting right here, what would you tell Max?
Max, I want you to come back.
Now let me be clear. Just because I would supervise and feed the girls on occasion does not mean I think Jim is a bad father.
Bro. Nobody freaking... Who implied that? Oh my God. No. Okay. The question was, why did you stab him in the back? And your response so far is, we were really good friends. I fed his kids and I watched his kids and I did this and we were all cool and I was a little socially awkward. That none of this is answering the question.
Jim is actually very kind and loving. From everything I have seen, his children are very happy with him. I am just explaining my side of what was happening when I lived with him. So when Ryan and I would hang out without Jim, he was always very curious about what was going on at his place. So he would ask me questions. Ryan always loved talking about Jim. Anyway, I fell in love with a woman who was helping me hunt predators, and Jim graciously let me invite her to stay with me for a week. And this is when I started hearing the first rumors about Jim from this girlfriend, because she was chronically online and spent most of her time on all of our Discord servers and participated in a lot of the gossip that happens on these servers. It wasn't anything serious.
Okay, I pause, Andy. I get why he's explaining all of this. All right.
It's just that Jim was very flirty with women, which isn't a crime, so I didn't really care. But again, when Ryan would ask me questions, I would answer him honestly. And since he was also hearing some of the same stuff from his own Discord server, we would compare notes and discuss what we've been hearing. And then we started witnessing firsthand how Jim would behave with women in real life, saying some pretty inappropriate things that would create some awkward situations. And it's not like he was hurting anyone, but I think because of that, and the rumors, and some other personal stuff, over time we started to distance ourselves from Jim, and eventually we just stopped talking to him.
Okay, haven't seen forward, but he isn't explaining anything like what he said, what he did, what these interactions were. He just simply said, we saw his interactions with women. I don't know this drama. I don't know the drama between him and freaking Nexpo, but you can't, if you're going to explain why, don't just turn around and say, oh, well, he was talking really weirdly to women. How? Give an example, show something, at least explain a situation in which that occurred. You're throwing out an allegation without any evidence to support it again.
That was the extent of my relationship with Night Docs, but things did not get that bad.
Or Night Docs, not Nexpo.
Bad for him until VidCon 2022, when Ryan told Mutahar about all of this. And that's when Jen, Mutahar's wife, told us about her experiences with Night Docs.
You know, in regards like Night Docs, the whole situation is like, you know, you hear some things and then you're trying to figure out where they're coming from, and then you find out, you know, it was originating from Max the whole time.
Yeah.
Not that Night Docs doesn't have fault of things of his own.
Now I'm gonna leak her DMs that.
Hey, I remember a couple of years ago hearing the whole Jin and waitress story that you left that you felt uncomfortable. Was a member things wrong? Oh, was I remembering things wrong? It was some joke from Jin about him and I potentially spit roasting with the waitress, and that talked to us there. People need to learn how to type better. It came out of nowhere and it just surprised me, on top of me thinking it was just weird and disrespectful, lol. He's saying now the waitress was into it. From what I remember, she wasn't around at all when the joke was made, and I can't recall him talking to her directly unless it was while I was in the bathroom. I don't know. I mainly remember everyone there just being like, WTF. When he said that to me, I can't speak for the waitress. If she would be into that talk or not. She responds with, I'm just trying to piece together some things because cool, it's not a pedo. I get... What? Cool, it's not a pedo. I guess he was still out of pocket and obnoxious. That's an odd statement to make. I feel for the dude. I felt like it's textbook's divorced dad behavior. As for the other claims, I have no idea. Her last response is, he got too pushy with me before I met Muda. He can't read a room. Okay, dude's socially awkward.
She sent during my cancellation to a witness who will be speaking shortly. Hey, I remember a couple years ago hearing the whole Jim and the waitress story and that you felt uncomfortable. Was a remember
read it for no reason.
Things wrong? It was some joke from Jim about him and I potentially spit roasting with a waitress that talked to us there. It came out of nowhere and it just surprised me, on top of me thinking it was just weird and disrespectful lol. He's saying now the waitress was into it. From what I remember, she wasn't around at all when the joke was made, and I can't recall him talking to her directly. Unless it was while I was in the bathroom, I don't know. I mainly remember everyone there just being like, what the fuck, when he said that to me. I can't speak for the waitress if she'd be into that talk or not. I'm just trying to piece together some things because cool, it's not a pedo, I guess. He was still out of pocket and obnoxious. I feel for the dude. I feel like it's textbook divorcee dad behavior. As for the other claims, I have no idea. He got too pushy with me before I met Muda. He can't read a room. So just for everyone to be crystal clear on this, Mudahar and Jen were already saying, and I quote, Night Docs is a fucking creep. Even Mudahar himself admits he did not hear any of the rumors from me.
In regards to Jim or Night Docs, there were two allegations. One of them which had come from Max, allegedly, in amongst a friend group, about him not being necessarily the best dad. There were two key things. One of them was him being asleep most days, and then the other was that Max would have to step in and feed his children cereal or whatever else was in the house. This is something that I heard, again, not from Max, but through our internal friend group. And while this one definitely raised some questions about, okay, you gotta be attentive if you're the dad. It wasn't necessarily the most serious thing. However, what was more serious was the allegation where he had allegedly started unzipping himself in front of a minor, exposing himself over a Discord video call. Now, I actually confronted Jim about this one specifically because I wasn't exactly, I needed to know the bottom of this truth, or I need to understand or at least get his side, because obviously I met the person in reality. Me and my wife confronted him, and in this situation, Jim obviously categorically denied that he had done anything. But I didn't have any evidence for or against Jim, and in spite of all that, I still decided to hold back my connection, not talk as much anymore. We weren't necessarily the most talkative people anyways, but this absolutely sealed the deal, and that's just because I don't really like to interact with somebody that even has that kind of an ick on them or that stain, because
all right, I again don't know the between Jim and MamaMax, but Mudahar saying that and being friends with Nux Taku is a little, it's not, yeah. But then again, that's already coming past as it is, but that does suck, because if you have somebody who has an allegation, yeah, you kind of want to distance yourself from them. You don't want to be potentially caught up in that net once that turns out, or once that gets exposed, if it is true or if it isn't. And on the internet, a freaking allegation is more than enough to ruin a person's life.
Again, I don't know what's true or what isn't. In this situation, I just decided to dial back the friendship that I had. Obviously, considering everything now, I'm more inclined to believe Jim at his word, given the other party.
So let's break this down. Mudahar claims that there were two allegations. One of them, only one of them, had come from me, allegedly, which was that Jim was a bad dad. And then Mudahar even admits he did not hear this rumor from me. It was from an anonymous source within the internal friend group that he intentionally does not name, who was spreading these rumors to him. And then the other allegation, which Mudahar has already implied, did not come from me, because remember, only one of them came from me allegedly, which was that Jim was exposing himself to a minor over a Discord video call. So if these rumors did not come from me, who did they come from? It was Ryan who spread those rumors to Mudahar. And from my memory, Mudahar and Jen spread those rumors to everyone else, telling every other YouTuber that Night Docs is a predator who abuses his kids. And I was like, okay, I guess that's
a hefty allegation. Hopefully you've got some sort of proof, or at least something that is actually going to show that could be a possibility.
What these people do. For the record, I was not even present while this was happening, but you could say we were all responsible for spreading rumors about Night Docs. But of course, when I start getting canceled. They reached out to Jim and pinned all of these rumors on me. My statement on the MamaMax video just released today by Nicholas Diorio, where I explained for the first time what Max did to me. I'm grateful to Nexpo, Ordinary Gamers, and others who listened. I'm grateful to you. Night Docs will return soon. I know people have been wondering where I went and why I fell off so abruptly. My comments section is full of questions. The truth is that over a 3 to 4 year time span, I experienced one traumatic event after another. I was suffering from severe depression. Then I went through a messy, identity-shattering divorce. The woman I loved and knew me better than anyone rejected me. I lost my job, facing more rejection about my ability to do what I was hired to do professionally. My grandmother died, my house flooded during the big Texas freeze, and since I no longer had a job, I was on a mortgage payment deferment, which meant I believed I didn't have home insurance, so I wasn't able to repair the damage, and my house became a depressing mess, falling into disrepair with a concrete slab for a floor. My house then caught fire during a live stream.
Jesus, this man was absolutely going through it. Holy shit.
On top of all this, some of my closest friends who I thought knew me well completely rejected me and cut me off. So this is true. We all cut him off. There were multiple reasons for why this happened. Some I already explained, and there's others I probably don't even know about.
When I lost all my friends, I just went away from YouTube and all that. Like, I just lost all of my self-esteem. I just felt like I was like irredeemable. There was something wrong with me that nobody would ever want to be around me. And I had no idea what it was that I did, but I was like, I'm obviously just a piece of shit.
So you'd say this impacted your career, I guess?
Absolutely, it impacted my career. I completely fell off.
And while I was given an explanation, it didn't make any sense to me. Then I found out that Max, who I had opened my home to and allowed to live rent-free just so I could have a friend nearby to help alleviate the loneliness and isolation I was feeling, had gone behind my back and spread false allegations of the worst sort about me to my closest friends and didn't even have the courage to tell me. Worst of all, I could not defend myself because not only did I not even know my character had been completely assassinated, he had so much credibility both publicly and privately that I didn't stand a chance of being believed, even if I knew about what he had said.
Which is absolutely true. At this time, MamaMax was like the #1 pedo hunter on YouTube, and his word was law until he got exposed for not doing a damn thing and basically making dramatizations of, in my opinion, the worst crime there is, which is offenses against kids.
I simply wasn't strong enough anymore.
His allegations against me range from I'm a neglectful parent to I am a creep, that I'm a pedophile. Essentially, the one that I was most bothered by really was when he was calling me a pedophile. He wasn't saying it publicly.
What's up, George?
None of the allegations he had against me were said publicly. He was doing it all behind the scenes with the people that I was closest to.
The truth is that we were all doing this behind the scenes, but it seems no one else wants to take accountability for it, among some of the many other things they don't want to take any accountability for. But don't worry, we will get to them later, and as you will soon see, their noses are not clean. By this time, I had completely run out of money and knew it was too dangerous for me to live alone, so I moved in with my parents, further eroding my self-esteem. My father and brother and I spent months repairing the damage from the flood and the fire and sold my house. I had what seemed to be undeniable empirical evidence that I was a toxic piece of shit that people were better off without. With nothing left to live for and no visible path to an existence worth enduring, I came within hours of doing something very stupid and very permanent. I had a plan, a place, and had made up my mind. I planned on leaving no note, because at this point I felt like I was so worthless that it wasn't even worth explaining anything. And then my daughters saved me. The image of their faces too young to understand and so unconditionally loving, it wasn't fair. My parents checked me into a mental health facility that evening where I stayed for over a week and a half. So I do feel really bad for Jim, and I can empathize with what he was going through, considering I'm going through pretty much the exact same thing that these same people are claiming I orchestrated. Pretty interesting, huh? Until only last week, when Nexpo called me to tell me what Max had done to me behind the scenes. I really believed everything that had happened to me was deserved. I'm just now starting to put my life back together. So for any of you that just missed that, Night Docs just revealed that all of this is stemming from a call with Nexpo.
What Ryan initially told me, that him calling me a pedo or whatever, Ryan told me the story that he basically brought me up out of the blue.
So regarding Jim, there were two specific stories that Max really harped on when it came to Night Docs, at least whenever we had our little, I guess, falling out. So Max was convinced that Jim was this pedophile creep, and he backed up this claim with, firstly, a story about an inappropriate conversation that he claimed Jim had with a minor. As it turned out, this person was not a minor at all. They had told Jim their age at one point, which I believe was like 25 or so. I'm not entirely sure, but that's that whole story that Max always referred to back whenever he would call Jim a predator. There was another story that led to more of Max believing Jim to be, I guess, a creep. And it involved one trip to a restaurant that he and Jim had way back when Max was living with Jim. Apparently Jim was, making moves on the waitress and, continuously hitting on her, and he just wouldn't stop. And it made this, I guess, situation, or this dinner that they were at, very tense and awkward. Basically, every single time that I was with Max during the time when we had our, I guess, falling out, I guess you could call it, Max would perpetuate this narrative that Jim was this creep, and he would always refer back to these two stories. And I guess I just never really vetted them, because Max kind of planted this idea in my head that, oh my god, we're associated with Jim, we have to cut Jim, we cannot be associated with someone like this, he's a pedophile, he's a creep, he's all of these things, and we can't associate with this guy. And in hindsight, it's silly.
Right now, your bullshit detectors are probably going off like crazy, because this story makes absolutely no sense.
You're right, Nick. My bullshit detector is going off like crazy. So Mutahar made two claims that he literally admits he did not hear from me. That Jim is a bad dad who sleeps all day, and that there's a Discord video of him unzipping his pants to a minor. Which is completely different from the two claims Ryan is making, which is that Jim was having an inappropriate conversation with a 25-year-old adult that apparently I claimed was a minor, and then that Jim is flirting with a waitress. And their response to these supposed claims is not to investigate it any further. It's just to disassociate from Jim, even though they knew Jim longer than they knew me.
But that doesn't matter. You positioned yourself as somebody with credibility in this regard. That's the whole reason why they would take your word more. And you still haven't provided any evidence or even a story as to why it didn't come from you. As of right now, this is just he said. There's nothing else. And it's entirely possible that you could have told Nexpo this, who then told Mutahar this. And that's why he's saying he didn't hear it from you directly. This is one of those situations where you're gonna believe whoever you like more, or at least whoever it is that you're gonna lend more credence to whoever it is that you find more believable. And unfortunately, in this case, Max's credibility is zero.
They just blindly believed these claims I supposedly made that, again, Mutahar admits I did not make. And
that's one person. One person out of the entire friend group is saying that it didn't come from you.
Okay, yeah, Nick, you're right. These stories don't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Pretty funny, then, that you made an entire video.
You also cut off before he explains or potentially explains why the bullshit meter might be going off.
Your crowning achievement based on these unsubstantiated claims. Good job, buddy. I have a good therapist. My daughters love me with the childlike innocence that he'll...
I already know Diorio's going to absolutely eat this thing alive, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what his response is.
With every hug and...
or his coverage.
Kiss on the cheek. They know that daddy is sad but are too young to understand. But they truly saved my life by simply being who they are, and the thought of them dealing with the fact that their father wouldn't be around for birthdays, graduations, weddings, all of the boy problems, it kept me alive. If not for myself, for them. I recommend watching Nicholas Diorio's latest video, linked below, talking about what Max has done broadly. you'll hear me speak on the record for the first time about all of this. So just by looking at the thumbnail, I can immediately tell that Nicholas Diorio is going to be as honest and objective as possible by giving me additional hair and enhancing the shadows on my forehead to make...
He's disingenuous because he uses Photoshop to up his freaking thumbnail. Oh, come on.
me look as creepy as possible. It's not like this is an example of visual manipulation and deceptive framing to influence the perception of the audience that all of these dramatubers are known to use.
You literally are calling them out for dramatization? Bro, come on.
It's clearly an accurate representation of empirical truth and reality, especially given that Nicholas Diorio originally had no criticism when I first showed him.
I'm kind of confused if this is a trailer or something else, but there is not really much I can critique here. If your point is that celebrity drama slash gossip groups, gossip gets a shitload of views and serious stories lacking the same level of exposure often get pushed to the wayside, I am in agreement there. Yeah, absolutely. People love a train wreck. But that extends further than this platform. It's just kind of a dark reality in the modern news cycle, yup. I assume that's why Charlie, Nerd, and Jack are in here so predominantly. Definitely not a coincidence Nerd is in here after he scaped together a Sniper Wolf video after being gone for so long. Also, random is Jake Baz a fucking fury?
The Charlie video. And then once he saw the backlash, he changed his mind to have a few light criticisms. And then after Mutahar recruited him to be his lapdog in the defamation campaign, he took a complete 180 and did everything in his power to make me look as horrible as possible, literally creating a video called "This Video Will Make You Hate MamaMax." It's not like he lied to my face saying he's going to keep everything between us and then subsequently leaking our DMs and private conversations.
Bro. Yeah, okay. Yes, you can tell somebody that and then find further evidence, further information that would make you want to turn around and no longer keep things private. Okay. It is a situation in which you're saying, yeah, I will keep this private. We'll have DMs. Don't worry, I'm not going to leak anything. But then you come to find out that the person isn't who they said they were. They're not doing what they said that they're doing. They're lying about all of these things. So now you have to get ahead of it and expose your end of communication with them in an effort to make it look like, dude, I wasn't sweeping out here. This is what I was told. This is all the information that I have about this, etc., etc.
Without our consent, by the way, to get a head start on the narrative so that way I can't respond without everyone immediately think I'm lying about everything. Jim, I'm glad you got a platform to speak your truth that was worm-tongued into you by Ryan, who no longer wanted to be associated with his best friend that was getting canceled. Yet the survivors and I have yet to be platformed by...
Yeah, man, I am declining and I am moving on from the subject. You have my permission to tell people that. I wish nothing but the best for you, and I hope they find justice against those who wrong them. My platform is not a place to have that discussion. I am an entertainer, not equipped to take the responsibility on. Exactly. It's far outside of something I could handle and do a good job at. Yeah, because he reacts to it the same way that we do. He reacts to his story, absorbs the information, gives thoughts on it, has fun with it. He's not about, like... You were wanting other people to turn around and do your job. And that's not at all what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to gather the evidence, put out a digestible video for other people to understand. And you didn't. You had no evidence. Zero. Been watching everything probably for 10 hours across 2 streams and my head is spinning trying to piece places together. I can't imagine how difficult this is behind the scenes if I chose to continue believing you have everyone else's best interest. We have been actively contacting
any of these people, some of which outright denied us a platform, despite the fact that we are direct sources of information for our side of the story. It's almost like this was an orchestrated attempt to keep us silent and only...
Oh God, it's the Cabal, guys. It's the Cabal. Again, it's the commentary Cabal going around and taking everyone out.
Platform each other. What? No, that's not an echo chamber. That's a beacon of truth. And then anyone that was asked...
I'm rude, guys. I didn't bend the knee to the great MamaMax. The Leviathans are coming for me. Shout out to Xylee.
Asking critical questions of them or showing support to me or the survivors were getting doxxed and harassed for having a different opinion than what cancel culture would allow for. So yeah, that's really great, Jim. What he did to me pales in comparison to the damage he has caused to the women he allegedly abused and the victims of CSA that he's failed through his own narcissism and unchecked megalomania. I and my friends that you destroyed are moving on. The damage is done, but the healing has begun. Out of the darkness, we can all find light. Jim. So, you all may be wondering, do I have any proof?
Yes,
to my side of the
we've
story?
been wondering that this entire time.
I really wish that was something you guys would ask of them. They have failed to provide any evidence that I did all of this, and yet everyone believes them. And now the burden of proof is on me.
Because you positioned yourself on a moral high ground, claiming to be this freaking crusader, and it turns out you were not that person. Your word means nothing currently. Your credibility is zero. So when allegations are being made against you, should they have proof about it? Yes, they're claiming it was word of mouth. Unless there's a recording of it or correspondence and DMs, there's going to be no proof of it. But at this moment in time, they have not destroyed their credibility. You did. You're the one who needs to have an explanation for it. Yes, allegations should come with proof, 100%. You take it at face value. There's a reason why they say believe but confirm. But you're the one who is exposed for lying about things and over dramatization. That is why you're the one who needs to come out and explain why you still have credibility.
That I did not do these things, which is actually impossible. How do you prove you did not do something?
That's pretty easy. If I were to turn around and say, if someone accused me of killing Zeph, I can easily turn around and say, no, I didn't. He's on this live stream. Here he is. Now, is it impossible to prove a negative? No. Is it incredibly difficult to prove a negative? Absolutely. But you can at least show, like you're doing now, the inconsistencies in a person's statement. Although it is a little odd that you cut off Dioreo's video where he probably was about to explain why Nexpo's story sounded like BS.
But I will show you what I do have. So this is my Discord correspondence with Ryan.
Okay.
He deleted all of his messages. I think because he knew I was going to expose him one day. There were many...
Hold on. Because you think he knew you were going to expose him one day, it doesn't really sound all too good. But you know what you can do? You can show your messages to him, and people can make an inference as to what you were responding to. Not the best, not solid evidence, but at least it's something.
Times he would talk shit about Jim, even videos where he would make fun of Jim. He deleted all of them. But I mean, feel free to read through my own messages. I looked up to Ryan like he was my older brother and always came to him for advice. Yeah, I think he doesn't want y'all to know that, since it contradicts his disavowing of me. Unfortunately for Ryan, you cannot delete messages from group chats that you've already left. Sorry, Nick, but you're gonna get caught in the crossfire. You can blame Muda and Ryan for making me do this.
Oh, maybe he's going to turn around.
So I believe this was regarding Creator Clash.
If you want to go through the boxing event, I can get you VIP tickets and you can hang backstage at the Creator Lounge. Tons of YouTubers are going.
LOL. Do you not want to go? I thought that was for the call tomorrow. Is that what I said, idiot? You just fucking laughed, loser. I laugh at your lack of intelligence. You know who lacks intelligence? James, I'm gonna groom the shit out of you, Bagel, with Nightcox Media. Nightcox banned a girl that we knew. He found out she was taken. So Ryan is implying that Jim only wanted single girls in his Discord server. Stop. Bro, what is the context behind this? No one knows. What the fuck, lol? The Jim lore is always expanding, I swear. Can't wait for his redemption arc. Jim when kitten logs into Discord. Is this Jim?
Well, hold on. 1/28/2022. Why the fuck am I not the hero? You're literally so problematic. This is beautiful. Okay. If the rumor is going around that he is a pedo or whatever, and people are making jokes about it, that's not solid evidence that he's the one pushing this. Like if he's making these are completely out of context here. It seems as though he's making jokes about it rather than outright saying that this dude is in fact a pedo. Like there's no Max. Context is king.
Logs into Discord. Is this Jim? Is this Jim?
Hi everyone, so I just wanted to hop on here real quick and tell you that I am actually breaking up with Jason.
No!
What do you mean no?
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Jason.
Would you guys still be down?
A cringe TikTok video? I stand with Kiwi Farms at Nexpo Podcast when this is where would you guys still be down to do part of the iceberg? Gonna pick it up next month. I heard Night Dix is down for the part with the young girls go suck. Jesus Christ. Yes, that's all I do, to be honest. VidCon fell off.
I'm gonna do part of the iceberg. I'm gonna pick it up next month after I get a few more vids done. I heard Night Dix is down for the part with young girls. Go suck his cock? Yes, that's all I do, to be honest. VidCon? Fell off? Huh? The fuck? I'm sick of you guys treating me like shit. Gonna start a new friend group with Jim. He made both of you, to be honest. Dude, you fell off.
Again, these are completely out of context. There's no way of knowing. I mean, it sounds like you guys are just arguing here. Either that or it's just in poor taste jokes.
Damn it, is that a Jim moment? Bro, did you collab with Him Pagel of Night Doc? Famous Webby nominated YouTuber? Yeah, it was a Night Doc's media production. He really went to bat for me this time. That's deep. Want to hear something even more deep and heartbreaking? When I'm with you guys, I feel like I'm the low man on the totem pole. Bro, are you serious, dude? Come on, man. Shit, I feel bad, dude. If it makes you feel better, man, your content's trash and you fell off. But dude, you shouldn't feel that way. Honestly, man, I do. I know my content is far superior, but it's just the algorithm, man. Dude, just keep trying, bro. Maybe you'll hit the algorithm in 2047. LOL. Pathetic.
So if these are things that Night Docs would have normally said, it sounds like they're just making fun of the guy rather than actually arguing. Again, it's hard to tell tone through text messages, but if that's stuff that Night Docs would normally say, the responses seems as though they're just having a laugh at this guy.
Yo, what the fuck? How the fuck are you two going to turn me into a gym like this? Yo, what the fuck? So just for context, this is a group chat. Glink invited Ryan and Jim too, and Ryan would often make fun of Jim for wanting to go to events that we were invited to. Let's play a game. Spot the Jim. Lamau. You inconvenience me. Consistently. In other words, when we make a podcast. You tell me, slut. Whenever you're ready, we brainstorm names. We include Nick and Jim. Fuck no. Ha 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 ha. Can't have me without Jim. Podcast when? Finally got a name. The Night Docs Media Podcast, a subsidiary of Night Docs Media Incorporated, LLC, 2022. Fuck both of you seeing Night Docs Media live. Got any friends that might want random shit from my place? I got the couches, 2 beds, a lazy boy chair, 2 desks, office chair, 2 dressers, shelves, etc. Jim, I believe this.
What does any of this have to do with you not being the person spreading these rumors? I'm completely lost here on this. You guys didn't like Jim. You made fun of him. You guys seem to be arguing all the time or something. What's the context?
It was right after Jim's house caught fire, by the way. Write that shit down. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. I hope you continue to use it for years to come. I'm sorry I let you down. Lamau. Bro, what is the context behind this? Random DM last night. He's with Oki right now. Oki was asking me about Jim when we met him in LA. WTF, wait, this is for real? I told him we parted ways but didn't delve into detail. 100%. It's real. So I'm assuming they talked about it. Did y'all get invited? I believe this was the invite for Lightwave. Yes, going. I think Jim might be there. LMFAO typical. I'll ask. Tell him the fucking deal straight. We don't mesh anymore, my mans. I'll let them know. Boys.
Okay, you guys don't like Jim. That's all I'm seeing here. You guys, all of you, dislike him. You don't want to be friends with him anymore, and you're all talking shit about him behind his back like a bunch of pussies. This doesn't show. If anything, this just shows that you went with it, that you were an asshole with these other people against a former friend of yours. This doesn't expose anything other than the fact that you're a piece of shit too. Like, what the fuck? The self-reporting is insane here. And it's also noted that Max did say earlier in the video that he seems to be the only one taking heat for it and nobody else wants to come forward for the part they played. So he's taking ownership of the fact that he was an asshole to Jim, aka Night Docs. I don't understand how any of this is showing that you were not the one to spread rumors. If anything, it's just further proof that you helped to perpetuate the story behind the scenes.
We merch trading at VidCon? What size shirt you wear, bitch, Muda? Large? Gonna make you a walking advertisement like Jim did.
So I'm no longer Nexpo. I'm officially Night Docs. I'm a walking advertisement. So is Max. Hey, do you feel like you're being used, man? Because you're walking ad.
So I believe this was a text message from Nick to Ryan. I was right, man. Jim's making a statement. Shut the fuck up. What we do? Trying to get a coffee or what? So you can see here, Ryan was always very concerned about Jim speaking up. Holy.
Is that really what it is?
Shut the fuck up. What we do? Trying to get a coffee or what? So you can see here, Ryan was always very concerned.
Yeah, he seems so incredibly concerned that Night Docs is going to make a statement when he says what we do. Bro.
About Jim speaking up. Holy shit, boys. Anyone see Jim's story? Deleted Instagram off my phone, what'd it say? Showed this tweet with a sappy message. Love it when someone decides that not only are they not your friend anymore, but they poison the well for everyone else you were friends with. Sounds familiar. I think I know who he's talking about. I'm telling you, dude, he thinks everything is 100% me. I know it. It is. So I'm half joking here. Clearly, we are all accountable for shit-talking Night Docs.
All right, well, he says it.
But up until Mudahar was involved, Ryan was the most vocal about Jim. Fuck you. I need to talk to you, please. Bro, stop. Photoshopped. LMFAO. You gonna talk to him? No, I don't think I will. So I believe this was during Pick Aside YouTube. Jim was fighting off the commentary channels. You sure do know how to win a man's heart. Always with you, dude. He reached out to me so many fucking times and you said not to reply and that you had him blocked. So I don't remember ever saying this. So a few months before I asked him blocked.
I can talk to him about it if you want, or we can, or just not say anything anymore. I don't know. Up to you. That put me in a shitty spot and now I look like a fucking asshole. I'm sorry, man. I didn't even think about that. We should talk to him together. Shut up, kill yourself. Why does everyone in Squid Games look the same? Bro. Okay. You're all assholes. That's all I'm gathering from this. You guys ran with a rumor about a friend of yours, decided to distance yourself and shit talk him in the comfort of DMs.
blocked. So I don't remember ever saying this. So a few months before, I asked Ryan if we should block him, and he told me yes. So I actually didn't tell him to block Jim, I was just asking if we should. But I didn't want to block Jim because I felt he was owed an explanation from the both of us. But whatever. Now he 100% thinks I'm the one talking shit about him pulling the strings here. I can talk to him about it if you want. Or we can. Or just not say anything more, I don't know. Up to you. That put me in a shitty spot and now I look like a fucking asshole. I'm sorry, man, I didn't even think about that. We should talk to him together then. Shut up. Kill yourself. Why do everyone in Squid Game look the same? Yeah. Something to note about YouTubers. They spread a lot of rumors, they love to gossip, and they love to appear like they don't.
This whole section right here has done nothing to support the theory that you did not push this rumor. If anything, it supports the theory that you went along with it, you platformed it behind the scenes, you were totally okay with it being out there, not correcting the record, not talking about anything, not stating you have no proof of it, nothing. All it does is show that you were a complete asshole to your former friend behind the scenes with other people who used to be friends with him. I don't understand how you thought this was a good portion. I mean, I guess if you want to expose that all of you had a hand in this, sure, but it doesn't take any accountability away from you. I don't see any messages of you saying, hey, we should find him. We should actually find real evidence to support that this is what's going on or anything.
But they most certainly do. Keep in mind, this is only what I have saved. There was a lot more in my DMs with Ryan, and it was much worse in person. It's also pretty interesting that Ryan has privated all of his Cringe Kitchen episodes with me and Jim, and if you go to the ones that are still public, you will notice his audience thinks it's because of my involvement. But all of his videos with me are still public. I think he might be trying to hide some things in those videos that could verify what I am saying.
So actually, I'm going to be joined by MamaMax and Night Docs. Let's get some music going!
And Night Docs knows I'm not the type to talk at, like, parties. I'm a pretty quiet guy.
MamaMax and Night Docs do live together. Yeah, he's actually upstairs right now, working on... I think he's working on his next video right now. You know, he'll be standing there, he might not be saying much, and then you hand him a camera, and things just start happening. And it's really cool.
But people who love to get drunk and run their mouths, that is Nexpo and Mutahar. Luckily for Mutahar, I don't have any evidence of him calling Jim a predator. He mostly did that in person when he was drunk, but from my memory he was very vocal about gossiping not just about Jim, but pretty much every other creator that thought they were his friend.
Muda is a wonderful, wonderful human being. You guys have, like, he's exactly like you see on his videos. Like, he's just so full of energy. He's got like the quickest wit I've ever seen. It's so hard to keep up. Like, I generally have a lot to say about everything in general, but I got nothing on Muda. Muda's got a really hot take on just about everything.
I don't think we really need any further evidence that Mutahar is a snake.
There's so many YouTubers that can substantiate this, like Nick Crowley.
Nick, what the fuck are we watching? Bro,
I need you to tell me, man.
Max, what are we watching, dude?
Trust me, just watch.
Shut up, Nexpo!
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Wow.
Get me out of here.
But he's probably going to defend himself and his friends. But that's okay, because there's one witness who is brave enough to speak up today.
Oh, here we go.
I go by Prox. I'm here to provide a new perspective on the relationship between Max, Ryan, Muda, Nick Crowley, myself, and Jim. Specifically as a witness as it pertains to the allegations from Ryan and Mutahar that Max destroyed Jim's character. Before I get into the main topic, I want to give context on who I am and why my perspective is important. I've been involved with these guys for over 5 years, and I have first-hand experience with many of the people and events I'm going to talk about. Here's a brief rundown of the projects I've been a part of. On April 27th, 2020, I was a part of Ryan's project called Ben Drowns Again. On July 15th, 2021, I was part of Ryan's Walton Files analysis.
But the person filming this can be heard in the background saying the following.
So, on June 24th, 2022, I was a part of Ryan's project, The Darkest Half-Life mod, which you won't find without the Wayback Machine.
A strange temptation awaits him.
I really need to take these pills. This channel used to be called Nexpo After Hours and was publicly available. Uploaded on May 1st, 2022, I was a part of a video with Ryan and Nick called Meeting Dream at 3 a.m.
Can I kiss you? I mean, can I shake your hand? I mean, can I flirt you? I mean, sorry, Mr. Dream. Mr. Dream. Oh, it's Dream. Oh my God. Come true.
This was only a tiny fraction of the stupid shit we'd do at Max's place at the time. On January 18th, 2022, I was in Muda's video titled A Lot Happened This Weekend.
Like Friday night, you know, Ryan came over, Prox, and Max came over, and we just kind of like had a good time.
On July 29th, 2022, I was a part of Muda's video titled The YouTube Disaster You've Never Heard Of. I wish I was never part of this mostly negative video at all.
And shout out to Prox, by the way.
On April 7th, 2021, I was part of Jim's video titled This Video Can Physically Attack You. I've never been a part of any project that was specifically for Nick Crowley, though we did hang out a lot behind the scenes for various other projects like for Max, Ryan, and etc. And I've helped Max with almost all of his post-2020 content. On July 13th, 2021,
this dude's video already has a much better setup as to why he is a credible source of information than the last almost hour of MamaMax's response video.
I uploaded the video titled Raising Cane's Chicken Is Not What It Seems, documentary, featuring Nexpo, MamaMax, Some Ordinary Gamers, Nick Crowley, Night Docs, and so on. Now that I've established my history with these guys, let me start from the beginning. The story begins for me around August of 2019 when I first met Max. This was shortly after he released his video covering Kanye Quest. Ryan would notice the video and collaborate with Max on the same topic a couple months later. It was around this time, in early 2020, that Max and Ryan would become good friends. Max messaged me about a new collaborative project he was going to be a part of that Nexpo was filming, which wasn't too far from me. I believe it was the night of April 25th that I drove over to Jim's house and met Ryan and Jim for the first time, where we also pranked Max before he showed up.
Which question?
How do you feel about the current health crisis in the world?
Yeah.
Filming for this project, which ended up being Ben Drowns Again,
look it's Nexpo. It's Nexpo from YouTube.
Was fun and went smoothly. Most of the time. Ryan was arguably taking this project more seriously than anything he's done before. He gathered several creators together to film a real-life storyline of sorts. Therefore, when Jim tried to share ideas with Ryan, on and off set, whether it's an extra scene there, a drone shot there, etc., the response from Ryan ranged from warm reception to downright frustration. Not too long after the project started, Ryan would voice his frustrations to the rest of us, without Jim being present. A good
Okay, so he's a diva.
example would be when Jim would fly his drone over the woods decently far away to get some B-roll, before almost entirely losing his drone and panicking about it for the next hour. This was a detour that caused another delay. In retrospect, though, most of what Jim did wasn't like this at all. Jim's a bit of a clumsy guy who makes mistakes. I mean, who doesn't? But overall, I argue that most of what Ryan was complaining about boiled down to Jim's mostly harmless suggestions and criticisms to him, which Ryan just couldn't bother to be more patient about, regardless of, again, how much of an asset Jim was to the project. Behind the scenes on this project was the beginning of a long era for Ryan as we knew him personally. One that was fueled by contempt for Jim. You can absolutely bet that Ryan had a list of complaints after every one of these videos, which he of course started to only share with Max and I, since this was a continued outlet for venting his frustrations about working with Jim. You know, forget the fact that Ryan and Jim have a longer history together than any of us. Forget the fact that Jim sourced an important location and actor for the film, along with being one himself. Also, forget the fact that Jim made an entire score just for this video. Despite how useful Jim was to this project, Ryan just wasn't having it. Ryan's lack of consideration for Jim would only get worse from here. After filming for Ben Drowns Again concluded, Neff and his partner went home and it was down to the four of us for the rest of 2020. Max started living with Jim for a few months and we would all continue to regularly collaborate, with videos like Strange Flyers around Portland, Oregon, the Randonautica video, the Rabbit Hole video, the Cringe Kitchen episodes, which all featured Night Docs at this point. I mean, they were literally filmed at his house. And oh yeah, the Kids Chat video, where all of them, including Muda, collaborated and made their own video. Very interesting. What I was mainly up to around this time was just hanging out with everyone off set. We'd go to restaurants, bars, stuff like that.
Are you enjoying your Coke?
It's a Pepsi. Except for one time at the bar we frequented, Jim made a surprise
No. Oh, we already
comment to me involving
done.
our waitress at the time, as he's done on multiple occasions. Though this moment was ultimately harmless, it did bring up a discussion among the rest of us about this behavior. Max has stories of Jim flirting with waitresses. So does Ryan. So, much later, when Ryan says this...
Another story that led to more of Max believing Jim to be, I guess, a creep. And it involved one trip to a restaurant that he and Jim had way back when Max was living with Jim. Apparently Jim was, making moves on the waitress and, continuously hitting on her, and he just wouldn't stop.
He is insinuating that Max is the only one with stories like this, and that Max was the only one who thought that Jim was acting inappropriate toward waitresses. Already in just this instance of this video, Ryan is either intentionally deceiving everyone by staying vague and manipulating facts, or after all these years, he's just turned into an idiot baby that genuinely forgot everything. However, when 2020 was starting to end and Max moved out of Jim's place, an evolution happened. Instead of complaining about Jim's behavior, why don't we just make fun of him? All the time. A group gossip tradition of sorts, spearheaded by Ryan, since, from what I remember, making fun of Jim would be more than half of the things he's ever said around me.
I'll do another one. I don't mean to be a Jim, but...
No, dude, go ahead. Ryan would come over when Max and I were hanging out at his new apartment, busting in and saying shit like, "Yo, is this Nightcock's media production by Jim fucking Pagel? I'm gonna groom the shit out of you. Out of the darkness, we can all find light."
This is actually, okay. Contextually, the stuff before this really made Max look bad. With this guy who was actually there giving his side and his accounts of everything, starting to actually, the pieces are actually falling in together, at least for this. But it still shows that you were in tandem and continuing to perpetuate this freaking hatred for this guy. The other one, the dickhead, he doesn't like the guy, probably jealous, whatever the fuck it is, absolutely. Spearheading the whole thing. Okay, definitely getting the vibe of that. But Jesus Christ, I don't think we really needed to spend 20 something freaking minutes on out of context messages. You could have just picked the single ones that this guy was going to be talking about or were in tandem with what he had to say.
Ryan would also make fun of his videos. One example that I remember Ryan religiously making fun of was Jim's new character at the time, Noctis. He made this character because in the Rabbit Hole video prior, Ryan donned his rabbit persona, and it was clear that this character was in a group with Max and Jim. So Jim probably thought, hey, I should make a cool character of my own. However, he was already fighting a losing battle, because the whole character thing was only cool when Ryan and Max did it. He also made fun of this. He also made fun of this.
I don't play by the rules.
Damn it! He also made fun of this.
Night Docs. It's Nexpo. I hope you're doing alright, man. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm a little worried about you.
And so many more.
doing?
I agree, brother. What are we doing?
You see, Ryan may look like a calm, calculated, and almost mysterious individual on camera. Off camera, however, he's a huge shit talker. He's also very impatient and quite condescending. In fact, just about every conversation I've seen Ryan in, he's always in the center of it with the loudest voice and the funniest jokes. A big ego only trumped by one other guy I know. Ryan's college jock bro behavior would only be compounded with the introduction of Nick Crowley to the group in March of 2021. Not because Nick was particularly brutal to Jim or anything, he was always very toned back about it compared to what Ryan would spit out daily. And he was a bit late to the Jim lore, but because Nick was involved with the boys now, and there's another cool bro in the group, meaning Ryan has another cool bro friend to boast to, wait, what if we replaced Jim? And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Ryan's been wanting to cut Jim out for a long time, and he took this as the perfect opportunity. As of March 2021, this is the last month I can find collaborations with Jim and the rest of the group. And then there's my video, which appears to be the actual last one, however, it was also filmed in March. It wasn't just some big coincidence that Jim didn't appear in our videos anymore. It was indicative of what was happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the rest of us continued with collaborations, hangouts, and all the usual stuff with nothing notable until January of 2022 when we met up with Muda in Houston. This is where I met him and Jen for the first time in person. At this point, Muda was becoming much more involved with the group.
What's up, Reets?
Or more specifically, Ryan. Nothing too notable, except for Ryan, who wanted me to tell my gym waitress story to Muda and Jen personally. And by this point, it wasn't uncommon for him to encourage others into talking about their own experiences with Jim. Why? You should ask Ryan. At this point, though, Jim wasn't just gone, he was still trying to keep touch, which we didn't. And he was rightfully upset about this. We took his kindness for granted, we slowly phased him out, and then we dumped him. And the fearless leader of the boys, the ultimate gym aficionado himself, was happier about this than anyone. If the other guys in the group were forced to tell you the truth, they would tell you something similar. So, that's what happened to Jim.
Okay. I will concede the fact that MamaMax most likely did not spearhead the hatred for Night Dogs, Jim, whatever. But none of you did anything to come out and speak out against against all of the allegations, against all of it. None of you decided to continue to take blame. So almost an hour into this 2.5 hour video, and the only thing that I've learned so far is that MamaMax is guilty of being a piece of shit to a once longtime friend, but didn't come up with the allegations. It still doesn't make you look good, dude. It still doesn't, like, you may not have robbed the convenience store, but you still were the getaway driver. Like, it doesn't make you look any better. Maybe slightly better, but you're still guilty of not adding any pushback whatsoever. And the funny thing is, had this guy who was actually there, who could confirm, who could actually turn around and put forth better, like, firsthand account and evidence, and doesn't have his credibility destroyed, nobody would have been able to believe anything you had to say. You're still an asshole. You hung a friend out to dry. You threw him under the bus. You did nothing to support this person who seems like he was an incredibly pivotal point for your group.
In conclusion, there's a lot more I want to say, but I also wanted to keep this testimony brief. I don't know who exactly spread rumors that Jim is a predator that abuses his kids, because I wasn't at VidCon 2022 where these rumors started. I can only tell you what I've personally witnessed, which seems to be the opposite of the picture Ryan and Muda want to paint. They pinned this on the one guy who still wanted to maintain contact with Jim at this point. There's something clearly wrong with the mainstream narrative. Based on everything we've just covered, I'll let you be the judge. Jim deserves to know the truth, and he's long overdue for an apology. Jim, I'm deeply sorry for the way I treated you, and how we all treated you. You deserve better friends.
Alright, we're rolling.
Okay, So I'm gonna say go this time. I'm probably gonna be like past the cars barely, and I'm gonna run slower.
It seems like none of them wanted to rock the boat and take accountability for being assholes to a once longtime friend because they wanted to keep their viewer base and they didn't want the backlash of it. Sounds like typical YouTuber shit. Unfortunate, yes, but you're still guilty, Max.
So it'll be easier to catch up and all that. So, all right, I'm gonna go now.
And this whole portion of your video is simply to turn around and be like, yeah, guys, I was a piece of shit, but I'm not the one who started it. I am guilty of not speaking out, of not saying anything, but I didn't start the rumor.
All right, go.
Jim, I am so sorry all of this happened to you. There's so much more I need to say. I'm down to talk if you're up for it. I miss you, man, and I hope you can walk away from all of this stronger than ever. And no matter how much fire you come under, remember that you're Jim fucking Pagel. Bulletproof. So Max, how does it feel to have Leviathans come for you? Not good, I assume. I mean, you did end up being revealed to be a backstabbing manipulator who betrayed his friends and fans. We all know what you did to Night Docs, Maxie boy, and we do not forget. I understand why you feel this way, given all the videos you must have watched about me.
But you still did backstab your friend in the back. Maybe you did. Maybe there's no solid evidence that you created the rumor, that you did nothing to correct the record. You did nothing to speak out. You still stabbed your friend in the back. Like, this doesn't absolve you of being a piece of shit to him in your little, safe space. I really hope he doesn't think that this absolves him of any freaking bullshit that he was doing.
But I hope hearing my side can show you that the truth is a little more complicated than what YouTubers might make it seem.
Ryan? Sure?
So,
I want to say, man, fucking love you, dude.
I know. Bye.
Bye.
Hey Max, longtime fan here. I was wondering quite a few things, actually. Firstly, what is this story I keep hearing about Night Docs and your allegations against him? If you did tell people he was a predator, then Nicholas Diorio is correct in that this situation means two things. You either protected a predator through years of silence, or you lied, attempting to destroy a YouTuber's career. What actually happened there? I don't think Night Docs is a predator. We've made jokes in our friend group. I wouldn't call it predatory, but I would not call it I would rather respect his privacy. Secondly,
bro, just turn around and say, we had no evidence, we made fun of the guy, I was a piece of shit, I was wrong for doing it. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And use our affiliate link in the description below for all your locale trading card needs. And as always, we will see you in the next one.